Hello, everyone, and welcome to our universe.
The CayVin Universe.
Oh, yes, welcome back. So now we are doing part 2 of the Umbrella Academy. I guess you can say review, breakdown, whatever you want to call it. Just, we really enjoyed the show, so here we are talking about episode 5 through 10.
No, 6 through 10.
Oh, I'm sorry, 6 through 10. See? I messed up around the spot. I'm sorry. It's been a few days since we've done this.
Yeah.
We're going to get it done sooner, but we've had a lot of other stuff that we're getting done.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, tomorrow, or this week, I don't want to say tomorrow, because this week, we're going to put our first podcast on YouTube. So that's pretty cool. That's going to be pretty awesome. So if you're listening, thank you for listening. Of course, as always, go ahead and follow us on YouTube. We'll have video up. I know we've been promising video pretty much every other podcast. We've been promising video.
I know, we've been trying.
But we're finally going to have it up. Our schedule is pretty much Wednesday through Saturday. It's not always guaranteed because as we're putting the pieces together for this podcast. But so this week, it may not be Wednesday, depends on how easy I can do the editing and put it out. If I'm sure there's gonna be lots of things that I run into that I need to look up or things like that, because I'm pretty much teaching myself how to do everything or all of this, and then you as well.
But you catch on quickly.
Oh well, thank you. I appreciate it. And then you as well, you're trying to help out everywhere you can, so
exactly.
we'll see how it goes. Expect to see us on YouTube this week. Awesome.
Exciting.
Yeah. But anyway, enough of that nonsense. Let's go and get right into the episode. So you want to start episode 6?
Episode 6. Well, was it the dinner? Did it go right into?
No, it started with, I think, when Allison was showing her husband her powers.
Yes.
Yeah. And
yes, now I remember.
Basically went into the shop and had him try on all these clothes, and basically had him had the people give him tea or coffee, whatever he needed.
Yeah, she basically just rumored everybody.
Just rumored everyone had the best customer service ever.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's when she goes to the diner. The diner that basically where all the dramas around, and
where they've had issues before.
Where in previous episodes when they had the sit-in, when the guy spilled the coffee on Allison, that started everything.
Yeah, we said we were going to come back to that.
Exactly. Now, she rumored the guy to pour her coffee, but as he was pouring it, she kept saying more. So to the point where it was overflowing and burning his hand. Yeah, that was intense. Yeah. So then, of course, this is the one where they go and they meet with the dad. Yeah,
that was basically the main point of the whole episode.
Yeah. So they meet with the dad, and then while they're meeting with the dad and doing what they got to do, or because I forgot where they go after the dad, but they kind of split up. And that's when Diego and Luther get the image. No, I'm thinking of a totally different episode. I'm sorry. They meet the dad, and after they meet the dad, they split up. I don't know where they go or what happens. I totally forgot. That's the thing of watching or doing this podcast a few days after.
Yeah, exactly. Because we did it. Well, we did the first episode right after we finished.
Yeah, exactly.
We had literally binged. Okay, so you can't blame us. We just got through it because we just wanted. We were so excited. So.
Yeah, that's the thing about binging. When you binge, it's over right away,
and then
then you have to wait.
The next one?
Yeah. So, but then it's kind of like a movie, because movies you do that too. You watch a whole movie in one sitting, and then you're like, okay, when's the next one coming out?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my
really
vindication.
Sad when you have to say it like that,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, I'm sure that's good for the show. I mean, if you love the show that much, that you're so invested that you're gonna invest 2 days of your time up until 6 a.m.
Literally,
just sit and watch that show like a work shift. Yeah, I mean that goes to show.
It was fun.
Yeah, and we're not just doing it for research on the podcast. We're doing it because we actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
And what we do isn't really research. We just we're just talking about what we enjoyed, and that's the thing about reviews and stuff. I guess people always want to look for people that say bad things. I never really saw anything bad with the show, but of course there's going to be people out there that they're going to say whatever they want, just whatever reason they don't like the show, they're going to pick out bad things about it. But
and
honestly,
not even really know.
Exactly. Not even really know. That's the thing. You can't criticize something that you invested one episode in. You know what I mean? It's okay.
Same way with the people who are like, oh, I don't like The Office. And I'm like, oh, have you gone past season 1?
No.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah. Well, that's how you were a long time for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You never liked it.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, yeah.
You only watched past you never watch past like the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now we've been watching it.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's a good show too. Once you get invested in it.
I feel like now that you're saying that, I'm like, damn. Any show that anybody could think like, oh, I don't like it, they just need to give it a chance later on,
Yeah. But then it's hard too, because if you don't like it, you're not going to invest multiple episodes in it. So it's kind of like, it's kind of double-edged sword. It's hard. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I say give it three episodes of season 1 and 2. Because sometimes season 1 isn't really like, they're still trying to get their footing.
Oh, yeah.
So if you watch the first 3 episodes in season 1, and you don't like it, try the first 3 episodes of season 2. And if you still don't like it, then maybe it's not for you.
Yeah,
because I've told people this, and I know people have said like, okay, that's a weird way of doing it, but for me it works, because there's some shows where I started with season 2 because I didn't like season 1. I started with season 2, and after season 2, then you go back and watch season 1, kind of like a prequel.
Man, that's actually smart.
Yeah, I did that with a lot of shows.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, back on track. So yeah, they meet my whole point to all this was they meet the dad, and after they split up, during that time the Swedish guys are going to look for I think they're looking for Diego.
They're looking
because that's after the brother died.
Yeah.
So they're looking for Diego, and they end up killing Elliot in the process, which is sad.
That was a pretty sad part, actually, because I
like
thought to myself, what did he do?
Yeah. I mean, I guess for the overall story it makes sense, but it was just sad to see him go. I'm sure he was a fan favorite character.
Oh, yeah.
For season 2.
Yeah.
But
sad. He only made it 5 episodes.
Yeah, but he knew too much.
Yeah. Literally, he knew everything from the beginning.
Yeah, pretty much. That's crazy. And then this is when we start seeing more of the Ben possession power, how Ben's starting to realize that he can kind of possess Klaus if he goes into his body,
Oh,
so that was pretty.
That's when they introduced that,
And then after the meeting, that's when the five and the dad talk alone. Yeah. And the 5 tells them try to instead of trying to time jump by decades or years, why don't you just try by seconds or minutes?
Yeah.
So that ends up coming into play later on.
Yeah, but my thing that I remember from when they were at the dinner, the shit that went down. So my first thing that comes to my mind is the conversation he had with Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Where Diego's crying.
Because he basically shows that he still has all this psychological control. He just basically scolds them and just tells them exactly how they are and how they're acting, and then he makes Diego cry. And but another cool thing about the meeting was everyone, because obviously the dad doesn't know who they are, because he hasn't adopted them yet.
Exactly.
And even though he knows some shit, he doesn't know that well. He knows that his adopted children from the future are going to come to him. His adopted children, he's not going to know that, which was kind of disappointing, but I should have known that, because I expected, when I knew he was going to be in the season, I kind of expected him to know they were coming.
Yeah.
But that plays in a part later. He knows they're coming later, but not now. I just realized that. That's interesting.
I know.
But so they explain to him, and he doesn't believe him at first, but the reason why he starts believing him is because that's when they show them basically all their powers.
Yes. Oh, yes. They go around the table. Now I'm remembering this. Yeah. And they show everybody. And then what does Luther do? At the end, what does he say? He's like, you left me on the moon.
Oh, when Luther takes off his shirt, or rips his shirt open and shows what he did to him. Yeah. And I think at that moment too, that's when the dad knew these are my kids, because that's that same serum.
Oh yeah.
That made Luther his. Like that was it was the same serum that he used on Pogo. So he knew. Yeah, he had to have known by then. I did some shit in the future. You know what I mean?
Already knows what his future self would do.
Yeah, and then of course talking to 5 and knowing that he can time travel. Yeah. Basically, that would explain it to myself as well. Yeah. To my younger self.
One other thing I remember from the episode was when Vanya and what's her name?
Sissy.
Sissy, yeah, Vanya and Sissy. They go away, right, to talk in the car, right? And yes. I knew
something was up.
Yes, I knew. I was like, this seems too strange. They're like, oh, we're gonna leave. They decide they're finally gonna do it, and then they showed down the road the dad I forgot his name too.
The dad's watching him.
Yes, the dad's watching him. I'm like, oh,
making out in the car.
He knew.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that was that's actually for my oh shit moment, was the dad catching him.
Yeah. That was literally, I was like, oh.
Because I knew eventually, I was like, they're gonna get caught. They're gonna get caught, and then boom.
They think they're so sneaky.
Right.
Yeah. It's actually funny though.
And then for my sad moment, I put what the dad said to Diego and Elliot being killed. My badass moment, showing them the powers, of course. Yes. And then for funny moment, but I don't know if it's the right one. Was this the one where Klaus tries to go to his cult and tell him he's a fraud?
I think so.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, I'm a fraud too," and they're all just like, it's completely reversed. And he's like, "I tried." He's like, "I tried to tell him." So and then episode 7. So that's when stuff starts starting getting real.
Yeah.
So what do you have?
Okay, and then episode 7. So this one, the main idea to me, because that's basically what the whole thing is about. 5 is literally trying to gather everyone and get them back to the alley, because he has this plan and they're going to go back to 2019.
Yeah, because he made a deal with the handler.
Yeah.
To go to 1982 to kill the commissioner, right?
Yes.
And then she kind of like set him up to fail.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, because because basically after he kills the commission, she promised him a briefcase to go back in time, but turns out he only had 90 minutes, right?
Yes. Yeah. She's like, here you go, you have 90 minutes. He's like, what? So that's why everybody is starting to scramble. Let's see. I guess Diego ends up at Allison's house, right? Or
No. This is was it the last episode? Or no, it was this episode where Diego's burying Elliot and Layla goes to talk to him, and Layla goes to talk to him, and she ends up drugging him. He passes out, and she essentially kidnaps him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then we find out she basically takes him to the commission.
Okay. Yes, that's how he ends up over there. Okay, there we go. We'll talk about that next.
Yeah, and then so basically, yeah, I mean, of course, you had 90 minutes to gather, what, 6, well, I was going to say 7, but 6 people, yeah, it doesn't end up going well.
Yeah, no, nobody listens.
Well,
honestly.
One thing I did like, because basically by the end of it, the only ones that made it in time were Luther, of course, 5 and Klaus. Yeah. Klaus barely makes it there, but because the whole time that's when he legit gets possessed by Ben. Yeah. And Ben gets to kind of live in his body for a little bit and talk to the girl that he likes.
Oh,
and
yes.
Yeah, it turns out Klaus has already banged her. Like, and he's like rolling in the dirt with her was the best experience of my life. Oh my
God, I literally...
Yeah, and then one thing I didn't even think about, Ben is a virgin. Of course, he died when he was a kid. That's sad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sucks. Sucks for him. Yeah,
poor Ben.
Yeah, so he makes it there. And what I find funny is this is too when Klaus basically pukes out Ben.
Yes.
Yeah, I love seeing because I follow what's his name, Justin Min. Justin Min.
Min or something like that, yeah.
Justin Min, I follow him on Instagram, and he was posting like behind the scene pictures for like, looks like they're recovering him with like soup or something, right?
Oh yeah, I saw that
on
post.
Instagram.
Yeah, I know.
I like how now they're posting all like the behind the scenes stuff on Instagram. I think that's pretty cool.
I'm liking all of them. Of course.
But yeah, 5 talks about like he's like, all you had was one task, just one job, and he's like, we didn't have to do this, and then he mentions he's like, we didn't have to fight a giant serpent. But in the comics, that's one of their things, like one of their adventures in the comics, where they fight this villain that has a serpent.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I just I figured that I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it was this episode, but I saw somewhere else. I think the guy who plays 5, he mentioned in an interview, and he said that there's a line where he says, "Is it too late to be unadopted?" I don't know if it's in this episode. Yeah, and then that ends up coming back around as well. Yeah. So
I like how how you had told me before, like how because. When we watched, I had never read the comics or like seen any of them. So when I asked you, like, or are they pretty similar? And you were pointed out to me that, well, no, because this is usually this in the comic. And so, yeah, I like how it was like same, but different.
Yeah, they still find a way to make references and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. So during all of this, they're trying to get to the alley or needing to get to the alley. Mm-hmm. And Allison, isn't going to leave. Again, they have 90 minutes. Allison decides she needs to go say bye to her husband,
right.
Just like anybody would, I guess.
Yeah.
And that own shit happens there because then the Swedish guys arrive, right? Or the brothers?
Yeah, this now it's 2.
Yeah, just the
2 Swedish brothers arrive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I guess they're looking for Diego, but then they, start attacking Allison, of course.
Yeah, so of course Allison has to, use her power.
Yeah,
and she rumors one of the brothers to actually kill the other brother.
Yeah, that was an intense scene, and he like knows he's doing it while he's doing it, and he's like all fucked up.
Part, yeah.
And then because when they killed Elliot, they put an eye for an eye in Swedish.
Yes.
So there's that's when Luther and Diego were, when they found Elliot, they're trying to figure it out, like what it means, and they look in the phone book and they call and they're like we're coming. Some lady answers because they think I forgot how it's like aura for but anyway they think it's a name, so they find the name in the phone book. They call, they're like, we're coming for you, we're coming. And then Five's like, it means an eye for an eye, and they're like, oh sorry, and they hang up the phone.
They're like, oh, it's different language.
Yeah, so that would definitely be my funny moment of the episode.
Definitely.
Sad moment was that's when Vanya actually plans on leaving.
Yeah.
Because the dad takes her out to this field and tells her like, hey, I know what's going on. You got to get out of here, or I'm gonna take our son and put him in a home or something. Yeah. So that's when she goes back. She's like, nope, we gotta go, sissy. She's like, pack up the kids' stuff.
Like, you're coming with me. Yeah. We have to leave. We have this many minutes.
Yeah, and of course the dad is like brother is like a state trooper or something, and they put up they know she was trying to leave, so they try to stop her, and that's when
they did. The FBI picked her up.
Yeah, and that's when Sissy sees Vanya's powers unleashed.
Yes.
Yeah, she ends up getting knocked out, and then we find out she ends up with the FBI.
Yeah.
While that's going on, I don't know if this is no, it's next episode. We'll talk about that next episode. Badass moment. Was the Allison, even though it was sad in a way, the brother killing his own brother, that was a badass moment.
It was.
The fact that's how strong her power is,
Yes, exactly.
Which comes back to play because I'll mention this, in like 5 minutes when we talk about it, but how even though that guy knew what he was doing, he still wasn't strong enough to back out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. And then of course that's when my oh shit moment, which is really like a moment that made me say oh shit, was when Five is telling Vanya like, you have to come meet us, and she's like, well, I have to go say goodbye. She says she's going to say goodbye, but she really wants to bring them with her to 2019. That's why she's telling them let's go. And then that's when Five and Vanya start like kind of talking shit to each other.
Yeah.
And then Five's like, you don't want to test me. And then Vanya's like, or you don't want to make me mad. Or he says something like that.
Yeah.
And Vanya's like, I was going to say the same thing. And then you see them both kind of like stand off with the aura of their powers. That was badass.
Yeah. I loved that part.
Yeah.
I want her, those contacts that she wears.
Yeah.
Those are cool. Badass.
Yeah, those are. All right. Now, episode 8.
Yeah. This one starts out with, because I think it left off at the end of episode 7, and then it started back off episode 8 when young Five meets the older Five. Remember, Luther takes him to that bar or whatever it is and is like, don't freak out, and then they finally meet each other.
There's this episode. Because
so it's future and past, I guess.
Because
young, however,
because that's a thing that you deal with time travel. It's like it gets confusing with, if you were there at that point, that means you're gonna meet yourself. And
exactly.
Like, so they did it good in a way where they went back to a time where basically all the other people in the Umbrella Academy haven't even been born yet.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But the only thing was Five was there because he wasn't even supposed to be there in the first place.
Yeah.
Five from another time was there, which turns out to be kind of the original Five, but then the Five that we know is technically the original Five because he's seen the shit that the older Five has seen that we see, but he's also seen all the new shit from basically season 1. The older Fives didn't live through season 1.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So our Five,
I don't know.
Yeah, our Five is the 5.
Yeah. That's why I said to us.
Yeah, so it gets confusing, but I did like the fact that that's what I mean. I like the Umbrella Academy's like explanation of time travel because it's different everywhere because it's essentially not a scientific fact. So you can kind of make it however you want. So how they make it where if you're too close to yourself from another time, you start breaking out. Like you get these 7 conditions like gas and itching and sweating. So he's like getting ready. He's like powdering himself up and things like that.
Doesn't he say something like time travel makes me itch?
Yeah, that too. And then I remember in season 1 they talk about that you get like the cold sweats or something when you time travel.
Oof.
So yeah, that was the best moment of this episode was Five meeting himself, and he's like, "Hey there, stranger." Oh, and like the older Five's expression, because like
he's like, "Whoa."
Because you got to think at this time, Five was essentially trying to find a way to get back to 2019. So this is basically moments before Five comes back in season 1. So you can already tell he's writing something down. You can already tell he's trying to figure out the equation to get back.
Yeah.
Because apparently the way they do their time travel, it's like it's an equation they do in their head and they make it work.
Shit.
So
that sounds crazy.
Yeah. So you can see him there, and then when he sees Luther, he's like, "Wait, I'm trying to get back to 2019. What the hell is older version of Luther doing here?"
Yeah.
And then he knows why, because he sees himself. Yeah. He's like, "Don't freak out. Don't freak out." He's like, no. He's like, "Luther, what the hell?" He's like, "All right, you're freaking out. You're freaking out." Because he's like number 5, and he's like, "What'd you say there, big man?" He's like, "It's me." But like, honestly, the way it's so funny, because like we talked about last episode with how more dynamic they made like the characters, like how Luther, like he's telling him not to freak out, but the way he's like approaching him, I would freak out, because he like looks at him with this weird face, and he's like, "It's me, number 1." Like, he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, some of his expressions and the way he talks is funny. It's just his character.
Yeah, so I like the way they made them more like rounded as characters. Maybe it's the fact that we've seen them all through season 1 and season 2 now, so maybe they're just more rounded characters to us.
Yeah, exactly.
But of course, so the FBI has Vanya. They think she's a KGB agent just because she knows Russian and her last name is Russian.
Yeah.
I guess that really shows around this time in America that everyone was fucking paranoid. Like, everyone thought everyone so was a secret agent or a KGB or Russian spy. Hey, maybe we need to be more paranoid nowadays. I don't know.
I know, right?
Maybe it's
you
a
never
secret
know.
message.
That's why they say don't trust anybody.
That's why keep your circle small, people.
Yeah. Sad, but damn.
Yeah, and then that's when, because Diego's in the commission, so he's trying to find a way out. He gets old Herbie to help him. I like Herb. Herb is funny.
You want to tell people what you found out about Herb?
So I don't know, because it says he's Pogo, but then also says Pogo was somebody else.
What?
So I think he's Pogo in season 2, which would be the little monkey. I don't know, because there was he's either the maybe he's not the voice, but he's the body.
Maybe that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what it is here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
They split Pogo or what? The
right?
Pogo role.
Yeah, because let me see, Pogo in the Umbrella Academy. See, it says it's played by Adam Godley. I found that out after I told you about but then, yeah, it says, see, this is saying Herb is Pogo. Because the other guy that plays him is too tall, so I'm guessing Herb plays Pogo's body, but he's just voiced by somebody else.
Oh.
Because they got to do CGI anyway. Huh,
yeah.
That's weird. Interesting. Yeah, so Herb is Pogo, basically. Herb would be Pogo to me.
Yeah.
Always be Pogo to me. But yeah, Herb, I was reading right now when I was looking on Pogo, there was like things like comments of, I guess, because like when you look up stuff now, Reddit pops up a lot. Yeah. So it's like comments on Reddit, and it says Herb was the one that technically saved the apocalypse. He's the real GOAT, because he's basically the reason why Diego was able to come back.
Yeah.
And like, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah, he helped.
Yeah, he really did help. So yeah, he gets all Herbie to help him, and that's when he finds out that Vanya is the bomb again. Yeah. Vanya essentially calls the apocalypse because she's, you know, of course the FBI is doing this fucking crazy experiment on her where they're giving her acid and putting her feet in like, you know, a tray of water and shocking her. So of course she's gonna fucking get pissed off and get her powers on. Her, yeah. So essentially, Diego finds out through looking through the timeline and the commission that Vanya was gonna sets off an explosion where they think it's Russian, and then they end up going to war, and then boom, nuke city.
Causes the apocalypse.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so then Diego escapes, ends up back at Allison's house, and that's when he meets Allison's husband, and he starts like freaking out.
Oh yeah.
There's like a dead dude there, and Herb and Diego just show up, and Klaus is there, and Allison's there. So I just thought
wasn't it funny that, because I believe this was the first time they met. So, in the beginning of the season, Allison's husband didn't know like that she had any siblings, so he first meets Luther, right? And then he meets Klaus. And then I think this is the first time that Diego walked in and was like, "Hi, I'm Allison's brother."
Yeah, and he's like all shocked, like, what is going on?
I know, he's like, "Oh, another one?"
Yeah, can you imagine the stories he told after like the character after Allison left? Like he's probably that old man that's trying to tell people, yeah, my wife was from the future, and like I met it, and then everyone's like, nah, okay, sure.
He's in the mental hospital.
Yes.
Now, people are like, what?
That sucks.
What is he talking about?
I hope that's not the case. So I would love but that's the thing. I would love to, they made us invest in these characters. So I would love to, somehow, I don't know, explain what happened to Allison's husband, explain what happened to Sissy. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, spoiler alert, we're already on 8, but, with Sissy's son or Harlan, he ends up still with some of Vanya's powers. So who knows if he's going to come back to play or something like that.
I hope so.
You know,
he did really well. So, you know, I wouldn't see why they couldn't bring him back.
Yeah.
To make him a part of something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then of course, this is when we start seeing, the older five plotting against the younger five that he wants to kill him and just go back in time with Luther. Yeah, he's like, I'm five, and he's like, yeah, we see, like we said, technically he is, but then he isn't because he didn't go through. You know, we didn't fall in love with him through season 1. Yeah, you know what I mean? He's not our five. He might be 5. He's not our
Luther's
5
either.
Yeah, he's not Luther's either. Yeah. So yeah, no, episode 8 was good.
Yeah. Overall.
On to episode 9.
Yeah.
So this is when basically at the end of episode 8, that's when Vanya's already starting to go off as the bomb, and her powers is, you know, just freaking going crazy. And she's
the FBI's fault.
Yeah, it's the FBI's fault, and she kills the dude. She kills the chick in I would say the chick in the hospital, but she kills the dude. She kills the nurse that was in the room. I guess that was just in charge of chloroforming her. Yeah. Whenever she got too out of hand, she basically kills everyone on that floor.
It was pretty gory too.
Yeah,
her like eyeballs were gone, right?
Yeah, I guess because that's her power. She just like sucked the energy out of them. And so that's when Allison, Klaus, and Diego try to go save her, try to go stop her. But even then, her power is too great for them to get to her.
All 3 of them. I know. That was a crazy scene.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, we get episode 9. Who's the person to stop her? Who's the person to save her and save everyone? It's Ben. Poor Ben.
The lifesaver.
Poor Ben. Yeah, I have that as my sad moment. So that's when Ben actually walks to Vanya, sits in her place, and since he knows he can kind of take over Klaus, I guess he kind of, at first I thought he was like going to possess her to stop, but he actually...
That's what I thought too. But he actually like gave his life.
Yeah, I guess he did. So
life he had left.
Because I guess when she goes into that state where she can't control it, I guess she goes into like where she was, where the real Vanya is like in this deep mental hole that she can't get out of. Yeah. And while, you know, the physical Vanya is going crazy. So that's when, Ben finds her and she's like, oh man, that was sad. She's like, I'm doing it again, am I? And he's like, yeah.
It was sad. Like, what were they inside of though?
Like a violin.
A violin, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
White violin.
That's why I was like, that made it more beautiful, I feel.
Yeah, and then essentially he is the reason she's able to stop because he like sacrifices himself to help her stop and help her get out of it. Yeah, and they're hugging and he goes away into the light, which it's crazy because like now like how we talk about R5 and not R5. We'll get back on that if you've already seen the season, you know, but it's like our Ben is gone. You know what I mean?
That's sad.
But yeah, it's crazy. So of course that happens, and then the of course we also get the fives fight in this one. The older five and the younger five.
That would be my badass moment.
Yeah, the older fives fight. Yeah. That was pretty good. That actually was my badass moment.
Really?
Yeah, that was. My old shit moment was, okay, so turns out they make Vanya stop, so they stop the apocalypse essentially, but JFK was still set to get still set to get, you know, where I guess we didn't know what was going to happen at this point. Well, we know in real life JFK dies, but we didn't know if the dad was behind it or not. Yeah. So it turns out, because did you know the Umbrella Man is a real thing in the JFK like case, that there was a real man with the umbrella, and they think that he was there to signal as a go ahead, like this is real life. And they refer to him as the Umbrella Man. But I think they like end up finding the guy and interviewing him, and he just said that he just did it to taunt JFK or something. I don't know. We got to look more into it. We might need to do.
That's kind of freaking me out.
Yeah, we're gonna do an episode on conspiracy theories, and this is definitely because I never really been, because obviously I was born '93. It was way before I was born, so I wasn't really into the JFK conspiracy. But the more this show has been kind of made me watch a few videos on it, and I'm like, whoa, that's kind of weird.
You like freaked me out. Like I had no idea that was a thing.
So that's why they tied into the show, because they really think that guy with the umbrella was there to like set, because he was the only one on the thing with the umbrella.
Oh my god. Yeah. You're like blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. You gotta look into that.
I'm definitely gonna look it up.
So of course Diego tries to be the hero, like his dad said. Oh, you think you're the hero? You're not. Blah blah blah. He tries to be the hero, so he thinks, at this point they think, they know the dad is the one, on the grassy knoll. So he goes and tackles him, and turns out it's not the dad, it's the decoy, his driver, the one that gave him the invitation. Yeah. And that's when he has a sign that says "Told you so," and then Diego starts crying again.
I know. No, I can see how that's emotional.
Yeah.
Gosh. And this is the episode 2 where we find out that Lila's parents' murder was like staged.
Yeah,
and everything.
And 5, the older 5 killed him, and
that 5's mission was to kill them, and like we had mentioned before, like the handler does not go on missions. But
why was she there? She was there to get
she already
Layla.
knew. Yeah, she had to get her hands on Lila. Yeah. She knew. Never mind.
Well, I mean, we're already on episode 9, so if you've seen episode 9, you've probably seen episode 10. So we'll just go ahead and talk about them together. Yeah. So if you haven't listened to those, then or you haven't watched 10, pause this right now.
Okay.
Go watch fucking episode 10. So of course she wants.
I know, it's like if you're a real true fan like us, there's no way we could have finished 9 and not went on. Right. To 10.
There could be people watch or listening to this that just want to hear us talk.
Yeah.
It's probably like one person, my mom. That's funny.
Hold on, I like how you just like took your jacket off.
Why?
I don't know. You just look like more comfortable.
Oh,
and I love it.
That's awesome. I like it. I love it. Yeah, I won't be able to do this when we do YouTube.
I know. I know. That's why it made me think like, wow.
Yeah. So she wanted. So it turns out. Because we didn't talk about it. So when 5 goes to kill the commission, of course he kills AJ, the leader of the commissioner. We talked about with the fishbowl head. Yeah. So at this whole point, after the commission killed, the handler takes over the commission, and she has the fish AJ on her desk as a fishbowl.
Yes.
So he's the one that told her, in Pebbles. 743. Look up 743. Yeah. And that's something that was brought up in the very beginning when the handler first comes back to the commission.
Yeah, and he's demoting her. That. You had to tell me.
Yeah, I didn't realize that too till I freaking I don't know where I saw it. Oh, I think I looked up because I was viewing through episodes again. Yeah. And I saw the part when he's like, "You remember that 743 incident?" I was like, "Oh shit!" He mentioned it. We didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
So he tells him that. So yeah, of course, Lila finds out about all that, and 5 killing her parents, and the handler wanting her, and I just went blank.
So she finds out that 5 killed her parents, and that. Okay, so I guess in the commission, like whenever you're assigned a mission and it's completed, like somebody has to sign off on it. So on Lila's parents' mission, it had AJ's signature, but we come to find out that it was forged by the handler. Yeah. So the handler could easily be like, "No, I didn't write that. That was AJ." Yeah. But then I wasn't it 5 who was able to like actually tell her like, "No, it was not him."
He told her in the last episode.
Okay. That's
because at this point she sees it was stamped by AJ and that 5 was the contract killer, but the handler's name in it wasn't in it. So when she barged in, was like, "I know who killed my parents." And handler was like kind of freaked out. Like you see, she was like grabbing the knife. She's like freaking ready to kill her if she found out. And she's like, 5 did, and then now she's after 5.
Yeah.
And then the handler tries
5 really did, but he didn't know who they were.
Yeah, exactly. He was just a contract. And then that's when the handler tries to like get in her head more and about Diego's probably behind it and blah blah blah. Like the handler just she just starts shit up basically. Yeah. So and then of course this plays into episode 10 was when we get basically the final showdown. So
all I have written down for episode 10 is WTF. Yes. Well, some other stuff too, but the main the last episode was just crazy from start to finish, I feel.
Because basically it ends with the dad trying to take the boy away because when Vanya was freaking out that whole time, the boy was going through it too. So the dad sees the boy, thinks something's wrong, and he's like, "Oh, what did Vanya do to her?" He tries to take him in the car and leave.
Like
and
the
then
hospital's gonna help him.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course Sissy is there with the gun, rifle, saying like, "Hey, like you're not leaving my boy."
You're not taking my son. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in the midst of he gets out of the car and the boy gets out in the midst of like the dad trying to fight for the gun with the mom. It shoots at the boy and it because he still has Vanya power, so it bounces off his chest and it hits the dad. That was crazy, right?
Literally just like rotated like backwards. Just like, boom. Or
and
like bounced off of
him, basically bounced off of him.
Yeah.
And then because of that, I guess it ends episode 9 ends with like him freaking out in the shed, so creating like this big like tornado storm.
Yeah.
Or this big like I don't even know what kind of like it's like a vortex basically. Yeah. Is I guess what you can say.
He's just like in the air.
Yeah. So.
Right, he's in the air.
Yeah, he's suspended in the air. So, of course, Vanya has to go help them and figure it out. And then she tries to get all of them to go with her. And they say, no, sorry. And that was kind of sad. I was like, wow, like, that's fucked up. But then, of course,
me too, for a second.
For a
and then
second,
when I
they
saw
get
them,
you.
I was like, okay.
Then they all showed up in the car.
Out.
And they're like, we're going to.
That
And
was,
then Luther tries to get in. It's like he sinks the back of the car.
Oh, yeah, when he gets in the trunk.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love that.
I love how this show has, like, it's, like, you can literally express all of your emotions. Like, you can get happy, you can get sad, you can get angry, you can laugh your ass off, you can, like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. Wow.
I love that, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why that shows like that are so good, that they can talk on every emotion. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Of course, there's places for other things when you just want to laugh or you just want to see some crazy action. Yeah. You know, there's places for those, but this is like that. That's what stands out as like a true to heart good show.
Yeah.
So, of course, while they all go there to try to help the kid, you know, the handler and Lila show up and zap in like a million commission people. Yeah. So, that kind of, you know, makes it to, you know, I don't know. Keep going.
I think the scene overall with when all the commission, you know, people show up, I think that's crazy because like. They're all trying to. Is somebody holding a shield to try and get them back, or am I thinking something else?
No, because they go to talk to the handler and they're like, "Oh, it's you know, you're outnumbered."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Let's fix
but then
that."
They start shooting, right?
Yes.
Everybody's trying to take cover. Let's see what I mean, where does everybody
go?
Well,
right now
everybody spreads out.
Yeah, they're all trying to take cover right now, and that's when Vanya, I guess she helps the boy. Come down, but he's still kind of like in a trance, I guess you can say. Yeah. And she's like, Vanya's badass. She's like, I'm gonna end this. She goes out and she freaking wipes out all the commission people.
Yes.
And then we notice like, okay, but why was there a force field around Layla and the handler? Mm-hmm. Then that's when the biggest twist, when she's like, because we all knew up to this point, you know, something was up with Layla. You know, she's like, there's a reason why she's with the handler. There's a reason why handler had her parents killed and wanted her. Like, something's up, right?
She needed her, basically.
And she's like, your turn. And she just freaking floated up in the air looking just like Vanya and basically did the exact same thing.
Yep.
So that's when because at first I thought that she had Vanya's power.
She's just like Vanya, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought.
And then she goes, we think this final showdown is going to be between the commission and all these, like this war.
But we have to remember too, it kind of hinted it. That's how you kind of figured it out to begin with, because she showed off a lot of like with her fighting moves and learning how to know, with her fighting moves and learning how to like use that knife and seeing how she throws it, just like Diego.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, that's the crazy part that was kind of badass is we think this, like, war is going to happen between the commission and, like, all these, you know, all the members of the Umbrella Academy.
People last, like, 5 seconds.
Yes, and it's really all of them versus Lila, who's, like, the badass. Mm-hmm. And, of course, then we find out that along the lines that she's actually mirroring their powers.
Yes.
Kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Heroes, but like the main guy on that was like, because Heroes is basically kind of like the Umbrella Academy, where all these people have like these weird powers. And
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, if you want a show that is freaking awesome, the Heroes is like another Umbrella Academy type awesome show. The only thing is, once they get to like season like 3, 4, it starts getting kind of bad. Because they got canceled a lot and came back on, but there was a guy on Heroes that was basically he's like a chameleon, where if he was around you, he can do your power or something like that. So I like kind of like the resemblance there.
Yeah.
So she's mirroring, and then like with the whole thing with Allison.
Oh yes. Oh, that part. Oh.
Yeah, when she's like, Allison and
then you stopped breathing, and I was like,
Layla tells her you stop. Yeah, she used her own power against her.
Yeah.
But that's why I was going back about the Swedish guy. That just shows how strong the Swedish guy was, that he couldn't handle it. Or shows how strong Allison is, that she was able to kind of fight through her own power.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So that was good. Mm-hmm. I thought she was done for. I was about to say, if they killed her.
I was to say, again, I thought I lost her in the first season.
Right. And essentially, everyone kind of gets new powers. Well, kind of everyone kind of gets new powers. We find out through this fight. Really Diego, but other ones as well.
Yeah.
Luther. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and then they all end up in the barn, right?
Yeah, they all end up in the barn. And, well, I mean, like I said, if you've seen it, you've seen it.
Yeah.
You know what happens. You know, you find out Layla's their...
Lila.
You know, I keep calling her Layla. It just... I guess it rolls off the tongue better.
Yeah, true.
You find out Lila, like I said, whenever they showed that flashback originally of her parents dying, I was like, why? It was like... It was 4 years after the Umbrella Academy would have been born.
You put it together.
And, yeah, and she was 4 years old.
And she was 4, yeah.
Yeah, so... Turns out she's related to them.
Yeah.
You know,
she's one of the... How many? 43?
Yeah, one of the 43. Yeah. And it's so funny how Diego always gave Luther shit about his love connection with Allison. Well, now Diego's involved with the love connection with technically his sibling. Yes.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Damn. But they're not all related.
Are they or are they not? Okay, so that's what we're gonna say. So let's get into the real juicy part of season 10, which is the last
season 10
or episode 10. Sorry,
I wish.
I haven't had enough coffee. Let's get to the real juicy part of episode 10. What everyone's thinking about is, spoiler alert, the Sparrow Academy.
Oh,
yes. So obviously we know those people are obviously part of the 43 of the Sparrow Academy. So, technically, are they biological?
Technically.
Because they all... Okay, so let's say they all have different mothers, right?
Yeah.
So, but who's
they
their...
do, right?
Yeah, but who's their father? Is Hargreaves... Is he their father or not? Technically.
Stop.
Technically, he is.
Stop.
Because, okay, so... How 5 says it's too late to be unadopted by the ending when they go back in time and the dad's like, they thought everything was great and the dad's like, the dad first of all was waiting for them. He's like, I thought you'd show up eventually.
Remember when they got back to 2019, right? That's what the time is, and they're walking in and then they're asking like, they said, why is Ben's picture above the mantle, right? And I immediately was like, oh my God, Hargreaves.
Yeah.
Like, he's there.
And then one thing that I was actually looking at and I noticed, but I didn't say anything because I wanted to see it play out. But you remember how in the front doors, the glass panels always has that circle with the umbrella in it?
Yeah.
For a split second when they're all hugging each other and they're like, we're back. For a split second, they showed the door and you just see the circles blank. There's no umbrella in it.
No way.
So once I saw that, I was like, oh shit, something's going on. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. Now I have
watch
to go
next
back
season. It's gonna be a sparrow in it, but
yeah.
I guarantee I looked and it was blank. It was just a blank circle.
Did you see that? I don't think it's a theory. I think it's a real thing. That in this whole season of Umbrella Academy too, that there were like hidden sparrows.
Yeah, they said there was 43 hidden sparrows.
There was 43. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and look for them.
I know. Rewatches the whole
I've seen I saw one, which is the one on like those blueprints, but I'm sure everyone saw that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to look for the like majorly hidden ones.
Yeah, because back to us, because technically, the dad in season 1 was the one that released that dust and whatever planet he was on. That, we think that's where all these 43 people came from.
Yeah,
was whatever magic particles he released in the air, and of course, they have to be birthed. So of course they found a mother host to birth them, but technically Hargreaves in a way is all their dad, even though he's not, I guess, on paper their dad, because now he never adopted the Umbrella Academy. So on paper he's the Sparrows Academy's dad now, and the Umbrella Academy are kind of orphans. But if you think about it, technically he's their dad. I know, this is all crazy. Yeah, see, and that's the thing with time travel. It's like, now that they went back in time, how are they going to explain it? Did they go back in essentially the spot they're supposed to be in, so they're supposed to be there, or was it that, or are there other versions of themselves there? Yeah, I kind of hope not, because that would just kind of veer off. It's like if they go back in time and now they have to face all their other selves, that would be kind of weird. Yeah. So I hope it just, because they kind of explained that last season. When they go back in time, they just fill the spot that they're in now. Yeah. So, because I don't know, I've heard somewhere that like, oh, Hargreaves adopted other kids because the Umbrella Academy were never there to adopt, because they just filled. And I'm like, no, that it kind of doesn't make sense. Yeah. I think, my theory is, and of course, I've heard it around too, is obviously he saw them as adults. Like, look at these fucking kids. Like these are her raised. Yeah, of course he was disappointed. Yeah, and then he's like, and then you had one person die too. Yeah. Like, okay, so I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna adopt different kids, and the one that died, I'm gonna adopt him too, and make sure he doesn't. Yeah, make sure he doesn't happen again. and that's essentially what happened. So in the beginning of episode 10, we see Ben's funeral.
Yeah.
And of course, that's like Hargreaves blamed the kids for Ben dying, and of course they're all sad, and I guess
blaming themselves.
Yeah, that just shows the torture. He put them through the mental torture, and then that's when Klaus uses his power to bring Ben for the first time. Ben's like, I'm supposed to go to the light, and Klaus is like, nah, don't do that. He's like, you can do that whenever. And then that's what Ben told Vanya to tell Klaus is that he didn't go to the light, not because of Klaus, because he didn't want to. He wasn't ready yet. So
wow. Oh,
but then that's the thing about it. I mean, see, I like how they're like canceling out questions in time travel, because what if Ben never went to the light? Then you would have Ben would technically be there with Klaus, and he'd see this other version of himself.
Wow.
Yeah, but he wasn't there. He's gone. So that's what I mean. Our Ben is gone, but the new Ben is here, and the new Ben looks like he's a leader of the Sparrow Academy.
Definitely.
So of course,
but he also looks like he could be a villain.
Yeah. Well, see, but that's the thing. So he has that scar, and he has the anime hair. He looks like
the way he like walks in, he's like, "Who are these assholes?"
Yeah.
He said something like that.
Because that's when Hargreaves is like, "I knew you'd show up," and they're like, "Oh," Luther's like, "Oh, you're alive."
Yeah.
He's like, "We're just happy to be
here. We're home."
Yeah, and he's like, "This is your home."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Umbrella Academy." It's like, "We're wrong again. This is the Sparrow Academy." So of course, but the Umbrella Academy were good guys, so you would think the Sparrow Academy would be good guys too. Yeah. They're just look like they've been raised differently. Because first of all, the Umbrella Academy, let's face it, as much as we love them, they're fucking dysfunctional. Yeah. It takes them 9 episodes for them to work good together. Literally. When he announced the Sparrow Academy, did you notice how all in formation they were? Insane. They look like fucking Justice League. Yeah. They're all so he raised them differently. He looks like they raised them all to be like legit badasses. Well, so they're gonna be a better team.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that, and two, like there's a possibility they could be evil, because like you said, like they could kind of like go to, I guess, a war with each other, both of the academies.
Well, see, I don't know. Yeah, you can, but see, it all kind of relates back to the comics. In the comics, we don't know much about the Sparrow Academy, but we know one of the only times we saw the Sparrow Academy in the comics was he actually came to save the Sparrow Academy, or the Umbrella Academy. So I'm thinking a lot of people are thinking, I mean, I think there is going to be a feud between both of them, obviously. That's going to be season 2, but I think there's going to be a bigger issue at the end of season 3. At the end of season 3, where they're going to have to work together. So like I said, I predict that you're going to have this between people like us, maybe like fans, that you're going to have like, oh, I'm Team Umbrella, like, oh, I'm Team Sparrow. Like you're going to have that divide Twilight. You're going to have that divide, but in the end, they're going to eventually, I bet they're eventually going to have to work together.
Wow.
That
would be beautiful.
Because they're essentially all siblings. Yeah. Wow. But that's what we don't know about next season. Next season is apparently supposed to be based off the Hotel Oblivion graphic novel.
Because that's the next comic.
Yeah, and Hotel Oblivion, if y'all not familiar with the comics, is basically a hotel where Hargreaves has all the other powerful beings of the 43 locked up in this hotel. So is he going to try to send the Umbrella Academy there, and they're going to discover all the other people, or is somebody going to get out? Who knows? I think it's going to bring a lot of connection on who the other of the 43 are.
Would they really have to hire all of those people?
I mean, you could do like kind of like a Ben thing where a lot of them died.
Yeah. So that's true. They could do that.
Yeah. Or a lot of them didn't make it past childbirth. I don't know. Because like, how many powers can you really come up with 43? Okay, so let's talk about this Sparrow Academy. So we know, based on the comics, and of course they might change this for Netflix, but like one of them is like a human like voodoo doll, where if he inflicts pain on himself, it'll go on the other person. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they would do that in a show. Then you have who knows? Then you have another person. The main one is like supposed to be like Luther, like super strong, but they put Ben in the original Sparrow Academy. Of course, Ben wasn't part of it, so they put Ben in the spot. Who knows what spot he takes over? You think he'll
have his similar powers?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh, of course. You have somebody who can actually like throw a flock of birds or turn into a flock of birds. Yeah, it's weird. I don't really know much, but you have things like that. There's one person that can spew like lasers out of his mouth. There's somebody else with the weird power. I forgot what it was. There's another rumor, which I don't know if they would keep that. There's the girl that says like, "'cause I said so" or something like that. And
so they're basically just like recycling powers.
Yeah, so it's kind of
In
yeah.
a
So
way, they're just kind of like using them again, but switching it up a little bit.
yeah, so I don't know what really like who knows if they're gonna change them up. But then of course
Yeah.
the only thing that we really know similar that we don't know about is the floating cube. What the fuck is the floating cube?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of theories on that, right?
Yeah, so the two theories I like.
Yeah, two. Sorry, I don't know why I said a bunch.
No. There are a bunch
Oh.
but theories. I've heard a lot. I came up with some in my head, but the two that stand out to me, either one, which makes most logical sense, was the Umbrella Academy. Technically, there was never 7 anyway because Ben was gone.
Yeah.
So that Ben was kind of like Ben's kind of like the spirit entity of the group.
Yeah.
That could be what this cube represents. It's kind of like a spirit entity. So maybe
That's
the cube.
a good one.
Yeah, maybe the cube is an individual on its own, or maybe it's like Klaus, where one of the or one of the Sparrow Academy people, like that's like his. I don't want to say his pet if it's like a spirit entity,
Talking
but that's
to objects.
Yeah, that's like his his thing. How Klaus has been, maybe that's somebody else's like spirit entity.
Yeah.
So it could be part of somebody else's thing, or it could be a standalone spirit entity.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've seen that this one would be cool, but it would take some explaining to do, was that the Sparrow Academy is meant to be kind of like a mirror, similar powers of the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
So you have 5 who can jump between time. He gets stuck as a boy. Well, this cube apparently is something or someone who can jump between dimensions and gets caught in a dimension, I guess, where he looks like a cube.
Yeah.
And then tries to come back to Earth, and he ends up
like
a cube. Yeah, how
Well,
5 tried to
that's
come
it,
back and
yeah.
end up a kid. Maybe this person tried to come back and ended up a cube. Maybe he was
Yeah.
in some kind of Tron world.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so who knows?
crazy.
And that's the beauty of this show. They can literally do anything and
Be
make it make
anything,
sense. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and then of course Harlan stayed with some of Vanya's
he'll
powers.
Come back, I think, for sure.
Yeah, because we didn't talk about it from the final showdown, but basically everyone came out of this with kind of new powers. Coming out of the season. Well, Luther not really. I mean, I guess he's just more confident, so his strength resembles that. You know, we see him without his freaking big ass trench coat this season.
Yeah.
We see him
That's
kind of
true,
different, like, oh, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So he's more confident. Okay, so we had Diego show off his new powers, that like when all the commission was shooting at him, he kind of like did a matrix, kind of like freeze the bullets.
Oh, Matrix.
And like kind of
okay.
threw them, made them change direction.
Yeah. Did we talked about that, right? Like their intro and everything. I'm like trying to remember from the past
No, we didn't
episode.
talk about that.
The intro from the first episode. How like they all did like their thing in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh,
We
yeah,
did
yeah,
that,
yeah.
though, right? I'm just making sure.
Yeah. I guess in the intro it did kind of show him, because that's another thing that I was thinking of, is like, how did he, in the very beginning, the first episode, when Diego jumped and was able to like stop, I was like, how did none of those bullets touch him? Well, essentially because he was moving them.
Yeah.
Allison, I guess controlling her own power would be the thing.
Yeah.
Or realizing that she can use it.
Yeah.
And
well,
not
too
fucking feel bad about it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Vanya too discovered that she can control it, right?
Yeah,
Up until it gets, obviously, how we talked about, she couldn't control it at one point, but with little things,
Yeah, and then like she took away the power from Harlan, so I guess she can control that.
Yeah.
She revived people apparently, but I guess she only revived him because she gave him his power.
Yeah.
So then he stayed with power. They showed him at the very end levitating that sparrow.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, there was one. I bet that was one hidden one.
What?
Right there
Yeah, that sparrow. Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
And then of course Klaus, in the very beginning episode, we see him like using the dead to like attack those soldiers.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really. We don't see that really come to fruition in our timeline.
Yeah.
So, but I guess he can. We find out that he can levitate through ghosts. We see him falling when Layla kind of pushes him back and he's falling. The ghosts catch him. So that's pretty cool. So I guess like the comics, he can levitate, but it is kind of through ghosts.
Yeah.
Which makes more sense. And then of course 5 at the the barn scene where basically all of them die again. How many times have we seen all of them die?
I know,
the handler
right?
shoots all of them. 5 was able to master his time travel to just backtrack a few seconds to before all that happened, so he could stop it.
That was impressive.
Yeah, that was really awesome. But yeah, I mean, we just rambled about this show. More like I rambled. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry if I've talked too much, people.
No.
I'm just waiting for the day where we get all the comments like, oh, Vinny talks too much. Doesn't like Caylin talk.
That will never happen. I feel like I talk equally.
All right. Anything else you got to say?
No, overall, I'm sad that we finished this season 2 so quickly. You know, we didn't really digest it. We just watched it, and here we are talking about it.
Yeah, so maybe a lot of our views are going to be based on that. I'm sure in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we maybe would have done a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
These are our fresh thoughts.
I meant to tell you too. Do you remember whenever we first started it? It was obviously the first day it had came out, or it started streaming.
Yeah.
And you were like number 9 in the world, because you know how it ranks 1 to 10.
Oh yeah.
Well, literally the next day, did you notice 1. It was like number 1?
Yeah, it was number 1 for like a few days after that.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people are watching that.
I'm sure it's still in the top 10.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
It's a great show. Like I said, if they make it through, like, they said there's supposed to be like 7 or 8 series from the novels or comics.
Wow.
They make it through that many seasons. I'm getting an Umbrella Academy. If they make it,
yeah.
If they make it through that many seasons, I'm getting an Umbrella Academy tattoo.
What are you gonna get? Hello and goodbye.
Oh gosh, probably not that. I'd probably get that one day, but I have to make sure I was like, I'm like retired or something. I'd have to be in a position. I'm already in the position mentally, but I would have to be in a position, I guess, physically, financially, to not give a fuck that much.
Exactly.
So,
wow.
No, but I would just get like the little logo, something small.
Yeah. Well, just like Klaus has, right? Or do they all have?
They all have that. Yeah. Okay, remember in season 1, they all got that tattooed
on.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. What else do you think?
I think I want to try out my new air fryer. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, you got a new air fryer. It's your birthday week.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll do that right now.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, guys, we hoped you enjoyed the Umbrella Academy season 2. We hoped you enjoyed this podcast, part 1 and part 2. If you listened to part 2, this one, and you haven't listened to part 1, what are you doing, guy?
Why?
How you doing?
That's why.
Go listen to part 1. As always, like I said, thank you for listening. Follow us on social media. Email us.
Yes.
The CayVin Universe across the board. The email is at gmail.com.
Yes.
Let us know. Message us on Instagram. Let us know whatever you thought about the season, whatever you think about the podcast. Any other questions, comments, and concerns you got, people. Let us know. All right, guys. What else you got, Caylin?
Peace out.
All right. Peace. Yeah. Peace and love, guys. And you will hear from us soon.
Bye.